My name is Jessica Lee. Today I'm going to present my summative presentation to answer the question of to what extent do technological advances improve or impede our ability to communicate ethically. This is my table of content. First, communication is the process of sharing information, meaning, and emotion between individuals or groups. It essence lies not only in transferring facts, but in fostering understanding, building relationship, and creating shared knowledge. Traditionally, communication depended on face-to-face interaction where tone, body language, and context shaped meaning. However, the conditions today's world are very different. We now live in a highly globalized, fast-paced, and digitally connected society where information circulates instantly across borders. Social media, artificial intelligence, and online messaging platforms have transformed how people interact, consume information, and form opinions. With these changes comes to the significant interventions of technology. Technology has become one of the most influential forces shaping modern communication, acting both as a tool for accessibility, efficiency, and global reach, and as a filter that shapes what we see, believe, and share. While digital tools have expanded opportunities for connections and expressions, they have also introduced new ethical challenges such as misinformation, privacy concerns, algorithmic influence, and blurred boundaries between truth and fabrication. This shift raises an important question: does technology ultimately improves ethical communication or does it hinders it? Second, how technology impedes communication. This is a CNN article. It covers a fake AI-generated Joe Biden rockabilly that told New Hampshire voters not to vote. The purpose of the report is to warn the public that new technologies like AI voice cloning are being used to spread misinformation and influence elections. The article targets general readers and voters. It shows that technological advances doesn't always improve communication. In this case, AI made misinformation more believable, pointing out that advanced technology can create false information and cause misunderstanding. Now I will explain how the content of the news article reveals the ethical communication threats created by AI. This article describes how an AI-generated voice has perfectly mimicked President Joe Biden was used in rockables telling thousands of New Hampshire residents not to vote in the primary. Because the voice sounded authentic and copied Biden's speaking style, many people have mistaken it for a real message. Data from Nomorobo indicates that between 5,000 and 25,000 calls were sent, showing how AI and a rockable system can rapidly amplify misinformation. This incident demonstrates how advanced technology make it harder to distinguish truth from fabrication, spreads false information quickly, and enable new information of manipulation. And the AI-generated Biden call is a clear example of how powerful tools can create convincing lies, confuse voters, and disrupt fair democratic processes. And in this photo from the article, we see a group of people gathered outside holding coordinate right and George Biden signs. Their collective pose, raised sign, and visible energy communicate a strong sense of political advocacy and genuine human participation. The American flag on the right reinforces the idea of democracy, national identity, and civic duty, while the central figure holding a sign above their head creates a clear focal point that suggests leadership within the group. The dominant colors, blue, white, and red, echo traditional patriotic imagery in the United States, making the events look like a part of a legitimate democratic process. And when we compare the scene to the AI-generated Biden rockable described in the article, the contrast is really clear. The photo represents ethical communication where people openly show their views and identities, while the rockable uses synthetic voice hide its source and try to influence voters through deceptions. The visual therefore highlights that ethical communications relies on genuine human presence, and whereas some technical advances like AI voice generation can bypass these standard and create false messages that mislead voters and undermine democratic participation. Evaluations. So this article clearly shows that advancing technology can impede ethical communication. The AI-generated rockable used a fake version of President Biden's voice to mislead voters about when to vote, demonstrating how AI can fabricate message that sounds completely real because the technology can distribute these calls to thousands of people within minutes. The scale of misinformation becomes far larger than traditional methods. Most importantly, the incidents affected a democratic process, providing that AI can be used to intentionally manipulate civic participation. Overall, the article shows the technological advances can seriously impede ethical communication by enabling deceptions and spreading false information quickly and undermining trust in public messaging. My second example is the Barack Obama Jordan Peele's public service announcement in 2018 from BuzzFeed video that used a deepfake of former US President Barack Obama to speak directly to online media users. The primary audience is a broad internet literate public, especially social media users who routinely consume political news and viral content. Its purpose is to purpose is to function as a public service announcement, demonstrating how convincing deepfake technology can be and warning users not to trust online videos uncritically, but instead to verify sources and think carefully about how information is produced and shared. The Barack Obama video blends presidential authority, comedy, and shock to warn viewers about the ethical risk of new digital technology. The video is built around a reveal. It starts with a convincing Obama speech, shift to an exaggerated out-of-character lines, and exposes that Obama is actually deepfake voiced by Jordan Peele. The structure made the message experimental rather than abstract, and they briefly fall for one and then realize how easily they were misled. Ethically, the video highlights how deepfake technology can undermine truth, consent, and responsibility in communication, putting insults and controversial opinions into Obama's speech, showing how a public figure's image can be hijacked to express views they never endorsed, raising concerns about misrepresentations, political manipulations, and the erosions of trust and visual evidence. At the same time, this is a controlled misuse. The deceptions is temporary and used to teach viewers to be more critical of what they see online, showing the tension between using the tools and warning about it. The tone is deliberately hybrid, shifting between serious and humorous, presidential and colloquial, formal warning and meme language, pop culture references like literate audience, and make ethical reflections on technology feels like a part of everyday digital life. Linguistically, simple sentence inclusive pronouns like we, our enemies, and repeated emphasis on trust move the focus from just creator of technology to the audience responsibility as knowers and sharers. So throughout the video, Peele relies heavily on irony and a paradox to communicate the ethical dangers of deepfake technology and to shape audience responses. The clearest irony is that a fake Obama warns us to our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything, even if they would never say those things, while the exact deception is happening in front of the viewer. We are hearing the words from Obama never said through a manipulated image and voice. The warning about deception itself is delivered through deceptions, and the irony depicts the Obama using slang, insults, and pop culture references. These lines clash with the expected dignity of presidential address, nudging the audience to sense that something is off even before the reveal. At the same time, the whole video is built around paradox. It uses an ethically questionable ask faking someone face and voice that is fake generated in order to promote more ethical communication. The audience generally deceives into thinking they are listening to Obama only when the voice admits that the voice is coming from someone like Jordan Peele. The viewer does not just hear that deepfakes are dangerous, they briefly explains and being fooled by one. The paradox forces the audience to confront how fragile their trust in visuals evidence when the fake Obama then urges them to be more vigilant with what they trust on the internet. The jolts make the viewers realize how easy technology advances can undermine truth while pushing them toward a more skeptical, woke stance on digital information. And on this slide, I am analyzing the mise-en-scène of the deepfake Obama shot. First, the set design is minimal and formal. It closely resembles an official broadcast environment with a neutral interior space that looks like government office. Then create a strong sense of legitimacy that make the audience automatically read this as a serious presidential address. The costume adds to the effect. The suit and tie directly mimic Obama's typical public appearance, which helps the deepfake blend in our existing mental image of him, and it makes the manipulation harder to spot. In terms of composition, the art is organized in clear layers. In the foreground, we have Obama's upper body and face, which dominate the frame and draw our attention to his mouth as he speaks. In the midground, the American flag is visible over the shoulders, reinforcing the sense of patriotism and official authority. The background is soft, formal, interior, and stays out of focus so nothing distracts from the president. The camera angle is eye level, which makes it feel like direct, respectful address to the viewer, just like the real television speech. Then the frame rate is smooth and consistent, and the lighting is high key and even, with no dramatic shadows. All these traces make the image look polished and authentic, helping the deepfake pass as genuine as the first glance. And on the next slide, the mise-en-scène changes when Jordan Peele appears and illusion is exposed. The set design on his side is extremely simple. He's wearing a black t-shirt showing informal and casuals, and also a plain black background. That street back setting contrasts with the fake presidential's environment and symbolically breaks the illusion as if we stepped out of the stage world and into a more honest behind-the-scenes space. The composition now places the deepfake Obama and the Peele sides in the frame, still within a clear sense of front, middle, and background, visually separating the two figures to make it clear who is the constructed image and who is the real speaker is constructing to the voice. The lighting and the camera angle and frame rate constant the same. But while changing the setting and costume, the video shows the technology hasn't changed, only our awareness has. And this mise-en-scene helps readers to recognize the deepfake as an illusion and encourages them to question how easily such realistic images could be used and mislead in other contexts. This video first appears to impede ethical communication and uses a deepfake of Obama to put words in his speech that he never said to mislead audience. However, when the illusion is revealed and Jordan Peele steps out, we realize that the deception is being used for a different purpose. And by letting the uh, audience experience the moment of being misled, the videos actually improves ethical communication. It raises media awareness, encouraging viewers to question what they see online and stressing need to verify sources and rely on trustworthy information. So, although the technique itself looks dangerous, the way it is used turns a potentially unethical tools into a lesson in digital literacy, helping audience communicate and consume information more responsibly. And then I'm going to explain the example of technology improves communications ethically. Technological advances do not only create deepfakes, they also can improve our ability to communicate ethically. For instance, audio description and captioning on streaming platforms and social media make video content accessible to deaf, hard of hearing, and visually impaired audience. When the services like Netflix and YouTube provided and detailed captions of description tracks, they are not changing the message itself, but changing who can receive it. This reduces exclusions and promotes fairness in the distribution of information, which is a key dimension of ethical communication. The rhetorical devices used here is onomatopoeia. It helps the readers connect with the image more strongly because it doesn't just describe what happened, it recreates the sounds in their mind. When a writer uses the words like crack, buzz, crash, whispers, the readers almost hears the sounds as they read, and it makes the mental image sharper and more realistic. It also helps makes the readers easier to feel what the character feels, and it depends the connection between the readers and the image by engaging both imagination and their senses. When platform added caption and audio transcripts to the videos, they don't change the message, but they do change who can access it. It makes communication more inclusive and fair, because the important information isn't limited to those with perfect hearing and right first. Overall, this technological advance enhances ethical communication by promoting accessibility, clarity, and equal access to knowledge. Unlike deepfakes, which can hide or distort reality, captions and transcript aim to make the message clearer and make more honest for as many people as possible. Conclusion. To conclude, my presentation has shown that technological advances can both enhance and hinder ethical communication depending on how they are used, and the Obama public service announcement illustrates how technology can seriously undermine ethics. Deepfakes break authenticity and consent by making realistic video of people saying things they never said, and the formal mise-en-scene makes the fake speech look trustworthy enough to manipulate public opinion. Yet its particular deepfake is later revealed the frame as a warning. It also becomes a teaching tool that raises awareness and improves media literacy. By contrast, the caption audio description shows a clearly positive side of technological process, making video content accessible to people, and they make it more inclusive and clearer, allowing people to understand both the words and the emotional tone. Overall, the technology is not simply good or bad for ethical communication. It magnifies human intention. Deepfakes show how far it can go, hindering ethical communication when it's used to deceive, while accessibility tools shows how far it can go, improving ethical communication when used to include and clarify. The extent to which technological advances help or harm our ability to communicate ethically ultimately depends on how creator designs these tools and how critically audience choose to question what they see and hear. This is my citations. Thank you very much.